Have you ever thought about building your own extension? Because somehow that's what us DIYers have ended up doing.
We have done everything wrong.
We are currently 4 months into renovations, and this episode, things start getting extremely dangerous.
After digging our own foundations, pouring our concrete and block laying, it is quite literally time to stand on the edge of a sheer drop.
Can't go forwards, can't go back. Edge of the cliff.
Whilst building a flat roof for the first time in our lives. Felt really nervous at first, but now I feel fine.
Now, we heard that building flat roofs was a relatively simple job, but it turns out it's a little bit more difficult than you might think. Sliding everywhere, bro.
Especially when you're trying to DIY a 2.5 meter skylight slap bang in the middle of it.
Get out of here.
So stay tuned for a juicy episode because this is not one to be missed. So welcome back to another week of DIY on our renovation. And this week is going to be a crazy week because we're officially now on the EPDM, which is going to be the top layer that seals our warm flat roof. If you didn't watch us build our warm flat roof, then that was all in last week's episode and the one before. I think it's taken us 2 weeks to get to this point maybe now. We've been doing other jobs in between though, and now this week is officially time to get watertight on this roof. Some crazy exciting things to happen this week, but starting with this DIY EPDM install. So without further ado, let's try and get that EPDM up here because boy, it looks heavy. Fucking shit. If we had 2 ladders, we might be alright. Getting up there, we're gonna have to go up next to each other, me and Alf, but you're gonna have to be at the top for a bailout. Mission success. Alright, it's time to give this roof a sweep off before we put on our EPDM, and that means putting some clean sliders on because our boots are a mess. We're not allowed up here without clean shoes now. Nikki, get off our roof.
Get out of here.
Get off our roof.
I will, I'm going.
Oh, woof. Woof, woof, woof. Alright, pretty easy.
Cut corners that way, but I don't want to it up.
He's gone for it. He's taking the plunge. I wouldn't have done that.
I'm way too far with that.
That was a big old slice. I wouldn't have done that, mate.
I bet you wouldn't have. You would have cut it all the way to the corner. You
I wouldn't cut anymore.
yeah.
Until
Leave
it's
it.
left.
Don't go too crazy.
Okay, we have just let the roof EPDM cover rest for an hour now. So it's time to get this EPDM primed and mostly done. Obviously there's going to be all of the edges to do still and all of around the sky lantern to do, but today we don't have time for that. The best thing about Rubber for Roofs, by the way, is they send you kind of all of the kit. So they've got all of the deck adhesive, the exact amount you need, all of the trim you need. So I'm feeling pretty good, pretty confident. At least we know we can't have forgotten anything. Anyway, let's crack on and get this done before we lose sunlight. Just ride the primer on the feet. Oh, fully slipped it. I'm just sliding everywhere, bro.
As Harry briefly mentioned earlier, we got this whole roofing kit from Rubber for Roofs. So many of you guys in our last video suggested using them for our EPDM installation, and we can't thank you enough for the amazing recommendation. So much so that we want to pass it on to any of you budding DIY roofers out there. Rubber for Roofs have an awesome kit calculator on their website where you pop your roof dimensions and specs in, and they send you everything you'll need for the roof. From the membrane itself, to edging trim, to primer. They really give you everything you'll need. Rubber for Roofs kindly donated us this kit to show you guys the install process, and they've given us a discount code for our viewers. So if you fancy giving an EPDM install a go, then enter the code Nikki and Harry for 5% off their website.
1/3 done.
Let's go.
under it, it might be the strap.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Right under.
Fucking take it on the edge. And then we pull it as tight as we can to each edge. Sliding on it, man.
No?
Take your time.
I'm going down nice.
I looked over you, you're just a
I'm going down nice, mate. What are you about?
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't really fancy going back for that.
It's a bit sketchy, doesn't it, on this back ledge?
Yeah, let's leave a good lip on it.
So, what to do?
Yeah.
Can't go forwards, can't go back. Edge of the cliff. Carrying a bucket of adhesive.
Yeah, mate, I don't really fancy it. Shall I get next? You can't leave that lid there. Go back to the lid, mate.
Gotta go back to the lid.
I'm gonna get rinsed for not wearing gloves, I reckon.
So the boys continued into the evening to finish this EPDM roof, because like the perfectionists they are, they would not stop until they were 100% happy with it.
So today we're taking a much needed break from the roof. But that does not mean a break from physical work. It's about to get physical.
This is Operation Clean Up the Site. Basically, it is so muddy on site here. As you might have noticed, we have been clambering around the site for the last month. So it is time to finally get some MOT Type 1 down, so we have a nice base for us to walk around on.
And just do a site cleanup, because the site is an absolute bomb site.
It is, yeah. And of course, we have some helping hands today. We have Harry's sister Tor and Harry's brother-in-law Doug to help us today. So let's crack on.
Let's do it. It's going to be a physical day, so strap in. It's really hard to give you guys the perspective, but this is 8 tons of MOT Type 1 today, which we're going to be moving down to the back. It might not look huge to you, but in real life, it's a pretty massive amount of MOT Type 1 to move. But anyway, let's crack it. So you might be able to see behind me here that there is a section where it was so boggy, we started laying all of the Type 1 and then there was quite a lot of bounce in the Type 1. Now that would have worked for the short term for making the site more usable and walkable, but in hindsight we realised that we're going to be laying a patio on this slip anyway. So we thought if we're doing a job, let's do it properly and let's dig a lot of that bounce out, take loads of the clay out, the wet clay on the top, and then put the Type 1 down so we get a nice solid base for our patio. We've dug it quite deep here, ready for them slabs. Job that definitely needs doing that has been left behind is floor noggins. Now you guys might remember when we installed our floor joists we did not put noggins in between them at the time because we were in a rush to kind of get all of this block work up. Now it means we've got to go back and do these noggins properly. Why are these noggins important, I hear you ask? Well, let me tell you. It's because it keeps the floor from creaking and kind of ties it all together so it's one big solid base rather than loads of individual bits of timber running across the extension. So, it's time to measure up and crack some nogs out. Let's go. I said earlier that this noggin job on the floor was going to be a Harry job, it's actually turned into a Nikki job, and she is flying through it. I don't know if you can see all of these noggins she's done behind me. And why are you a smart girl, Nick? What have you done?
So what I've done is I've made each gap 120 centimetres long, because that is the exact width of the insulation we're using. So we means we need to cut it on one angle.
And then we can just slot it right into the noggins that she's made. And she loves mucking in. As so many of you guys say in the comments, she works just as hard as I do on this build. So, girl power.
Thanks, baby.
Doug, what do you think of that Cornish shovel, mate?
Mate, it's absolutely godsend.
Yeah, fan of it?
Fucking brilliant, mate. Pretty good, isn't it? Let's get me one of them.
Get me one of them.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it at home?
Who knows? My
Haven't even got a garden.
first floor, no garden, 2-bed flat.
Yeah.
Gotta have a shovel, don't you? Spade shovel.
Nikki's currently outside cracking on with her jobs. So we're gonna have a role reversal today. And I'm gonna make some lunch. So let's make some halloumi gyros, is what I've been told to make by Nick, because she got the shopping. Her idea, my handiwork. Let's go. Lunchtime. Today it is halloumi gyros flatbreads, which look kind of delicious.
This woman is my destiny. She said, ooh, ooh, shut up and dance with me. You want a rating?
Oh, that's a good point. Do I want a rating? Yeah, go on. Give me some critics.
That red's are cold. They could have been warmed up. That's my only critique, I think. I'd give it a 9.2.
Doug, what are you going? He's going to be harsh. Here comes Simon Cowell.
I was thinking like a 7.5.
Oh!
Wow.
I've had a little bit too much.
That is officially a very good job jobbed. The site is now looking about 100 times better than it did this morning. And it's just so much more usable for all of the jobs we've got to come. Safer, less energy exerted climbing through clay, and just less mucky. So a win all round, really.
So you might have seen a few months ago that we popped up a Argus Pro Reolink camera at the front of our property to get some extra security. And so far we have been loving this camera, and it's made us feel so safe and have so much peace of mind. So we have teamed up with Reolink again, and they have shown us their new home hub system, which is basically 2 Argus PT Ultra cameras along with 2 solar panels and a home hub system which connects all the devices, as well as the camera that we've already got from Reolink.
I'm actually so excited to install these.
Me too.
Me too.
The Argus PT Ultra has everything you could need in a home security system. With 4K UHD resolution, a time-lapse option where you can speed up a whole day in 2 minutes, two-way audio, colour night vision, and so much more. One thing we love about Reolink is that there are no monthly subscriptions or fees like so many of their competitors. When you buy it, you know that is the price you are paying for the whole time you are having it, which we love. And you have access to play back all of the footage on your phone. And the footage is also stored on a micro SD, so you know you can have it locally encrypted. Not to mention, the Reolink Home Hub is armed with exclusive encryption algorithms, providing premium data protection against unauthorized access, even if your devices or SD cards are stolen. and this gives Harry and I so much peace of mind. We also love that the Home Hub allows us to centralise our camera management. With just a few taps on the app, we can easily access live feeds and playbacks from multiple devices. We also love that the Home Hub will sound an alarm when any connected IP camera is triggered. This is not only useful for security, but also for deliveries. We always know when our deliveries are coming because we get told by our phones. And if we're not even there for the deliveries, we can tap the audio microphone button on the app and speak to our delivery drivers, telling us to leave the parcel where it is.
Hello, I've got a delivery.
Please leave the parcel on the doorstep. Thank you.
So if you're keen on creating your own personalised security system and creating a whole new level of security for yourselves, then check out the Reolink Home Hub kit in the description box below. Trust me, this kit is the best, and it will let you sleep at night knowing that everything is safe and sound. Right, we are inside the extension, and today is insulating the floor day. Because we've just realised the electrician is coming tomorrow afternoon to do the first fix in here. And of course, we need to put the insulation in first so that he can put the wires above it.
Yeah, because they all run in these floor joists, but insulation bottom, wires top is my logic, because then you can access all the wires in the future.
Yeah, perfect. Insulating the floor day. Let's go.
What she said.
Job one done.
So we bought these roof battens to put on the underside of the joists, which would help keep the insulation up and wedged between the joists. We thought this was a quick and smart way of doing it, and we'll explain later why this method just isn't. But for now, watch us oblivious little beavers hard at work.
It's insulation time, baby. Oh, beautiful.
Here we're using 100mm Kingspan insulation as stipulated in our structural engineers report, a report that has saved our bacon so many times. After doing about 2/3 of this floor insulation, we came to the realisation that maybe we were doing this wrong. Let us explain.
So we've had a little sad realisation about all the work we did yesterday, and that is that it is...
All wrong. We have done everything wrong.
I mean, that's a little bit dramatic. We haven't done everything wrong. At least we've cut all the bits of insulation out nicely to size, but all of the insulation is going to have to come back out. Where we thought we had to put it in before the electrician came and he would run his wires above it, I mean, because to me that makes logical sense that you can then access the wires in the future. It turns out the wires go underneath the insulation, underneath all the floor joists to allow for adequate airflow around the wires. And you're in...
But also, it's because the insulation needs to be tight up against the floorboards, so otherwise that will be a cold bridge there.
I thought that would just mean like a nice air gap, but so it turns out we've done it a bit wrong. So we're going to go back on ourselves, we're going to number all the bits of insulation we've cut out and put in, pull them all out. Electrician's coming now, he's going to run his wires, and then we're going to pop all the insulation in flush with the top of the joist. Bit long, but shit happens.
So we really didn't want to film ourselves undoing everything we just did. So here's a time lapse of the insulation having been taken out with all the joist exposed, ready for our electrician Jack to run his wires. Now this was actually a super exciting day for us because we were able to discuss our plans for where we wanted all of our appliances, lights and switches in our kitchen. And we have gone for some bougie things. So let me take you through it.
So starting with the appliances, we have got a dishwasher next to the sink here. We have 2 single ovens, a hob, and a full-size fridge freezer unit that are next to each other there, and they're going to be integrated. And as you can see, Jack has put all of the plugs in place where they need to be, ready to go. So we can just dot and dab plasterboard over it, and when it comes to second fix, like in about a month's time, he can just wire it all up and we'll have a fully working kitchen, which is crazy. We also made the decision to put our sink in the middle here, mainly because our current sink in the kitchen backs onto it, so it means we need to do way less plumbing and maybe even do the first fix all by ourselves. As for the switches and sockets, we have gone for 3 up on the countertops here. We have gone for 2 on the island, 1 on each side. And we've got a few more on the other end of the kitchen. We've got 1 above the TV and 1 next to it, just in case we want like a Christmas tree there or something like that. And then on the other side of the wall, we have 2 which are on either side of the window. And we have this 3-gang light switch here, which will power all the lights here. We've gone for antique brass lap switches from Screwfix, and they are gonna go perfectly with our knobs and handles that we're getting with DIY kitchens. Since we're speaking about lights, we are gonna go for 10 spotlights on the ceiling. We are also gonna go for 3 pendants above the island, which is literally where I'm standing here. And one of you guys was asking about why we were putting the sky lantern over there and not over here, and the main reason is because if I had the sky lantern here, it means I wouldn't be able to access any wires and have any pendants above my island. We are also going for under cabinet lighting on the cabinets here, and we're doing them on the island and the TV unit. The only reason we're not doing it round the actual perimeter of the kitchen is because they have to stop in between where the dishwasher is because of the way and the mechanics of the dishwasher works. So it would look a bit silly having a 60cm gap. So we thought, no, we won't do it at all around the perimeter of the kitchen. We'll just stick to the island, the TV unit, and the wall cabinets. And lastly, I've opted to put 2 wall-mounted lights on either side of the TV unit here. So I've got 1 there and 1 there. And I've just seen these all over my Pinterest boards, and they look really bougie, and I think they're going to give us that mood lighting that we'll want kind of in the evenings when we're chilling out in the kitchen and we want it to look a bit cozier. And lastly, you guys are probably wondering what colour kitchen cabinets we actually went for when we asked you to decide for us between the skimming stone and muscle. And we can reveal that we have gone for the majority of what you guys voted for, and that is muscle. Partly because there's pretty much nothing in it, like you guys were saying. The skimming stone is slightly grayer. But because muscle is one of the colours that DIY Kitchen provides, it makes so much sense to just stick with that. Any questions about any more DIY kitchen stuff, the online planner or anything like that, ask us in the comments below. Okay guys, it is that time of the week. It is Riddle of the Week. Last week it was, what has a bottom at the top? So many of you got this, and the answer was legs. Someone said a toilet, which is quite funny and very true as well. But as for this week, the riddle is, I jump when I walk and I sit when I stand. What am I? I jump when I walk and I sit when I stand. If you do know, pop it down in the comments below.
So now the electrician has come, today is all about getting that insulation back in there, and hopefully it will stay in there for good.
Did you not film yourself making lunch?
No?
Why have you not filmed it? It's a good 9.5.
Oh, really?
That is officially the last bit of insulation laid, which feels so good. Now it's time to get the flooring on, which is super exciting, but I don't want to get the OSB floor on until this sky lantern is officially done. You guys know that we've got some big plans for this floor. First it's some OSB, and then after that, underfloor heating, and then some nice bougie farmhouse tiles. The word bougie is not really in my dictionary. It's a Nicky word, but it's starting to trickle into my vocab.
And speaking of watertight, we have just been super unlucky with the wet weather this week, and it's really stopping us from cracking on with this EDPM on the roof. We went up one morning and tried to do the last finishing bits around the sky lantern, but to be honest, it was just way too wet, and we'll need redoing next week.
It's too wet to do it today, really, so we're not going to do it today, which is a shame. Quite disappointed by it, but I feel like applying it all in the wet probably isn't going to be a fantastic idea, because it might not seal right, so it's for another day.
A couple of weeks ago in our outro, we told you guys that we were going to be discussing with you the colour samples for our doors and windows that we're doing in the extension. And we have decided to go with an awesome company called Origin, who do these bougie crystal style doors that I've been looking for so long.
So we have 3 openings we need to fill. Here we're going to have a side door, here we're going to have a window, and here we're going to have some big bifolds. Origin do a range called the Soho range, which look like this. and as soon as we visited their showroom, I fell in love with this look.
The idea is to have sort of like creamy grey units around the edge of the kitchen, and then the island be a black that would match this.
Oh wow!
So it would all kind of hopefully tie together, have some black like pendant lights, so it would all be kind of that moody, but also light and airy vibe.
Yeah. Including these handles here, so this is what we are going for.
This is definitely my favourite.
The showroom did also have some other great options, but my heart really is set on this Soho range.
So we're going to be going for a really similar door to this on the side of our kitchen extension, and that is going to be this door here. It's still a Soho range to match our bifold doors at the back, but you can make so many alterations to these doors. You can kind of add a top window, side windows, depending on what you specifically want. I think we're going to add a little kickboard at the bottom, aren't we?
We are. And we're also going to have, just how it is here, 3 dividers rather than more, because you can have the option of how many
you want.
Yeah, which is awesome. I also found matching internal French doors and bifolds in the showroom, which might have to feature inside the house at some point because I just love them.
Anyway, in terms of colour, you guys know that I'm pretty set on having a jet black colour on the inside of these doors. But as for the outside, I am still pretty torn because I like the idea of going for something a little bit lighter, so there's not a massive stark contrast between sort of the white render we're doing and some black doors. Of course I think that would look gorgeous, but I want to go for something a little bit sort of country style light vibes, kind of like these photos here. And what is awesome is Origin does give you the option to do a different colour on the inside than what you have on the outside, which is so cool.
Yeah, and these can all come in dual colour as well, so you can have one colour on the outside and different on the in.
So with this in mind, knowing I wanted to go for sort of a grey, green, blue, beige colour on the outside of the doors, I got some samples sent over from Origin. So here are the 2 options that we are stuck between. This is RAL 7038, a nice colour that's a mix of grey, beige and green. And this is RAL 7032, very similar to the first one, but just a little lighter. So this is the Pebble Grey 7032, and it's one of the options that we might have on the outside of our bifolds. Got a lot of decisions to make. I'll also put some photos here on the screen of these colours in action on different houses, so you get more of an idea of how it would look. Please just make this easier on us and tell us what you think you should go for, because I am very, very stuck. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but what a week.
And more excitingly, we've officially got our sky lantern here, and you're going to see that next episode, which is going to be a really cool one because it starts to kind of look like an actual interior house with like, you can see what it's all going to look like.
It's going to look amazing. Make sure you are sticking around for the next few weeks because things are going to get crazy exciting with the doors and windows going in, with the kitchen getting installed, with us plasterboarding, with us doing the flooring and the underfloor heating. There is so much you don't want to miss.
And this is when it starts to get a little bit more bougie, as you would say.
And a bit more technical. Kind of, it matters how this finished product looks now. So we need to be more meticulous and gentle with things.
We're sorry if this week you feel like there wasn't too much progress. Maybe there was, who knows when you're watching this video. But it feels like we've been a bit stop-starty this week because of the weather and because of stuff like that. We're feeling a little bit down about it sometimes, but we put too much pressure on ourselves, I think. So
we do.
Who knows? So have an awesome week and we will see you next weekend.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.